Neil, a week on from Blackpool, frustrating. It is still frustrating you what you saw last Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just Blackpool. I'm frustrated for the last few weeks, really. I know we did well at Forest, but I mean, how we didn't beat Blackburn and even got a result at Coventry, I don't know. But I mean, last week, they had one shot, and we shouldn't concede goals like that. They're really poor goals. So we've got now. Everybody says we've got tough games, but everyone's tough games. We've got to just make sure we're ready for it. I'm quite enjoying watching us play. Large parts of the games, so we play some good football, but you've got to get results really. And it's one thing playing, but if you don't get results, you've got to work hard to make sure that you do.
It's that thing about consistency, isn't it? We were speaking about, I think, before the Blackpool game, just trying to get on a run, and it's not as easy as it sounds, obviously.
No, I think the only consistent thing we've been is inconsistent. So it's no good bleating about it. Everybody has problems, but I'd be more concerned if we weren't playing well. I mean, you take the 2 goals out last week. I mean, the first one is just, should not have been a free kick. But even so, there should have been more talking to make people come out towards the free kick when it was obvious they were going to take a short one. Dale doesn't normally make mistakes like that. And the second one, I mean, that's comedy bandbox, isn't it? So it is disappointing.
On to Reading next then. Relatively long trip away from home. And, I mean, 2 sides that, when you look at the league table, evenly matched so far.
Yeah, I've always had some good games. I mean, I've had some cracking games there, both for and against. I've been battered and I've done ever so well. I've won 2 or 3 games. It's a place that you normally get a good game of football. I mean, they've got some excellent players, and it'll be good to come up against them. And we've got to try and instill the way we play as well.
You've had some decent results as Boro manager there, if memory serves me, in the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, we've done all right. We needed to, when I first came, we needed to get that result. That was probably the most important result of my early tenure, really. But it's a place I always enjoy going. I'm glad there's crowd. I always get stick down there, and it's a nice atmosphere, I think, Reading.
They had a bit of a dodgy start, and there's stuff going on off the field with them at the moment, and a potential points deduction. Does that filter its way through to the players, or are they able to separate that stuff that's going on off the field?
No, I don't think players worry about anything other than themselves, really. I think that's how players are at every level.
So then a chance to get some points on the board again away from home, and looking to follow up, as you mentioned earlier on, what you did at Forest, which was an excellent night.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, we've played some really good stuff lately and not got the right results. We've just got to keep working hard to try and eliminate those mistakes and take advantage of more of the chances that we get. I think we're well up the table on chances created and things like that in the league. So we've just got to take 1 or 2 more.
And what's the squad looking like? How are your injuries?
I think Dick Steele's going to be out quite a substantial time, really. I don't expect to see him for quite a few weeks. I don't know exactly, but it doesn't look so good, that.
I mean, you could ill afford that, can't you? With
absolutely,
your numbers
yeah. We've got Bowler and Paddy who came into full-time training yesterday. So we'll just have to see. We are treading on what's the word? Sorry.
Eggshells.
Oh, well done, Dewsy. Eggshells, yeah. Well done, Dewsy. we're treading warily at the moment. Put it that way.
And just finally from me, it was announced this week about the return potentially of standing at Premier League and Championship grounds. Obviously, a lot of hard work's got to be done by all the clubs to make it happen and all of that. So it's a long way off. But is that something you would welcome?
I think we've just got to go, coming from Sheffield and the disaster that happened at Sheffield Wednesday. It's a very, sore point, and I think we have to leave it to the experts, really. I think the experts have to look at it at every angle, and if they can get people standing up back, then so be it. But, we can't obviously allow anything like that to ever happen again. It's still long in the memory in people in Sheffield. So I would imagine we'll know more as the next few months go by.
Could I start off asking you about Joe Kinnear? There's been the news that he's suffering from dementia, and just wondered what your reaction is to that, the latest in a long line of footballers of his generation and before.
Well, there just seems to be it's never ending, isn't it, really? When you look at the names that's being mentioned, it's pretty daunting, really. Everybody's got sympathy. I think you just have to hope that there is the people, the experts that are looking into it, just get the right answers, really, because it's frightening, really. I think. If I was a defender at the moment, I'd be probably worried long term about my health. For me, I was a winger, so I never had it, so I hardly ever have a problem with that. But it's not coincidental, is it? All these cases coming up now.
There's a charity event at Spennymoor Town this weekend.
I saw that this morning.
Few former Boro players as well, and they're doing this thing where heading inside the box only in the first half, no heading in the second. Are you interested in that? Do you think the game might change in the future? Do you think it should change?
I can't see it changing. No. I think if I'm honest, but probably it might change for up to the years of 18 or something like that with the children, because their brains aren't fully developed really, and they're more susceptible to damage at that early age. So I wouldn't be amiss to no heading up to the age of 18, but I can't see it ever coming into the professional game, if I'm honest. I did see that because I thought, I thought I might get up to that at Spennymoor to have a look at some of these players, but I'm not sure I can. But I did see that. I hope it's a well turned out event.
Another serious topic, if I can as well, gambling on shirt sponsorship gambling. The government, there's been talk that the government might look to get rid of that. Obviously, Middlesbrough one of a lot of clubs with a gambling sponsor. What do you make of that sort of conversation?
I don't think I should comment on that, really, do you?
Probably not. And on the football, do you think it's a harder season this year to go up? If you look at the teams at the top of the league, teams who've very recently been in the Premier League, teams that went up last season very recently in the Premier League, is it hard for other clubs to crash that party?
Well, it is. I mean, it's harder because of the parachute payments, obviously, and we've got Sheffield United on Tuesday who are coming good now as well, aren't we? All the three promoted clubs are really there or will be there or thereabouts. But I still think it's an opportunity. I still think a team like Middlesbrough could and should get in the playoffs. I don't see why not. When you look at the points we've chucked away, we should be quite well up there now, looking to consolidate our position. So I still think anybody can get into those playoffs, mate. But it does look a little bit difficult for teams, probably Bournemouth, who kept the squad, and from last year as well. I think the four teams that we're talking about will probably, two of those will probably go up automatically, and then it's up to the rest of the league to try and get two more into the playoffs, I think.
All right, Neil. Thanks very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Have the weekend.
Simon O'Rourke.
Simon.
Morning, Neil. Reading, the latest club to apparently have breached the EFL's profit and sustainability rules and apparently negotiating a points deduction. This is on the back of Derby County. How much does it concern you that the financial situation that the Championship in particular clubs seem to find themselves in at the minute?
Well, I think you've got to ask the owners, haven't you? The rules have been in place quite a long time. Then you've got to ask the owners if they've adhered to the rules that they should have done. And they obviously in certain cases, it's been obvious that they haven't. So you've got to punish them. I think you don't know all the ins and outs from all these clubs, but that's what the fair play is supposed to be about, and any breaches should be, investigated.
Do you think that your chairman and the people who run the financial side of Middlesbrough deserve a bit of credit for hopefully keeping your club above the water in this respect?
I think every club, not just our club, I think every club in the pandemic, etc., that run, everybody's had to run a tight ship, and the rules are there for, we all wish we could have unlimited money, etc., and the crowd's coming back, and we've only just started with the crowd, so it's going to get back to some normality, but there still needs to be rules and regulations adhered to, and that I don't get involved in that, but I do see that, and that's what rules are for.
And last from me, how personally frustrating are you sort of finding the inconsistency of results? Because I know you're very enthusiastic about the return of fans, you're very enthusiastic about your squad, and yet you can't quite get that consistency yet.
No, it's very disappointing because, like I say, I think some of the football we've played this season's been the best that I've had under me for many years. But the mistakes that we've made, I don't think it's been down to tactics or anything like that. It's just been bad play on individuals, and we've been punished. That's what makes it doubly disappointing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sky, please.
Sky. Who?
Sky.
Who is Sky?
Hi, Neil.
Yeah,
It's Dave from Sky.
Hi.
Just to go back on the financial situation at the moment at Reading and other clubs, we've seen Derby drop into administration. Administration is obviously something that you've experienced being a manager at Crystal Palace. Can you give us an insight into what sort of situations that Wayne Rooney might face at Derby right now, and perhaps any advice for him?
Not really. It was just a very, very difficult time for me as a manager because it was put on me. I think I was on a flight on the way up to Newcastle with the team when I was made aware by the captain of the aircraft or something like that what had happened. So it was a very unusual situation for me, and I think the manager has to take a lead with the players and the staff off the pitch. It seems to be a lot of you take them for granted, these people that work at the club and have worked there for years, but they become the ones that are worried. The players, whilst they suffer, that their wages is always guaranteed, whatever. So it's less of a worry for them. I think it's the staff that have been at the club so long and what have you that worry about what's going to happen to them when in these situations, and they have to make ends meet. I had many discussions and fallouts with Gerald. I can't remember his other name now, from Leeds, who was the administrator.
Krasner.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Krasner.
And he was telling me who I was going to have to sell and what I was going to do, and I had to go and tell the players and the parents that no matter what he said, that was a load of rubbish, and that if I didn't feel it was the right move for the lads just to go to pay the wages. I thought the career of these two lads in particular would have worked out better if they stayed put, played a few games, and then got sold in 12 months' time. And it did work out like that. Played for England, and the lads concerned have had good careers, and all Gerald wanted to do was just sell players and and pay the bills, etc. He wasn't bothered. I think he actually, the first week he was there, he was going to let me go until Simon Jordan, I think, went ballistic with him, and he realised he could get compensation from me. So once he thought he could get compensation, I think he got a few quid from QPR for me. But he'd have sold his granny. The guy in charge of the admin. I don't know whether it was Joe, so let's cast him in that. It might not have been him.
We know that Middlesbrough as a club have been asking or pursuing legal action against Derby. I know you can't obviously say anything about that, but as a manager, is there a level of frustration that clubs like Middlesbrough are within the rule book and then other clubs are perhaps not? And then for Middlesbrough's case, it almost got to the point where Middlesbrough's promotion was on the line against Derby for a playoff spot. Can you understand that frustration from a football club?
Well, as I said earlier, I think the EFL make rules and regulations that should be adhered to for everybody. I think it's straightforward, really. If it's fair play, then it should be like that. And I only think the EFL will take action against people and clubs that don't adhere to the rules. So I don't know whether Reading have or not, but that's I'm into the football side of it, so I don't see an awful lot of that. But obviously Derby haven't adhered to it, and hence their demise.
And Wayne said the other day that he's been putting his own money in. He's been paying for travel for the players and hotels for away games. Have you ever been forced into, or not forced into, but thought about doing that? And as a manager in a situation like that, you've kind of already touched on it there, but a sense an extra bit of responsibility for, looking after the players and also looking after the staff?
Well, you do, because you talk to the administrator, as I've said to you, and I ended up putting my hand in my pocket, and a few others. There were one or two of the lads that chipped in, because we wanted to do things right, and we weren't allowed any money on normal expenses. So and we're talking about travelling and accommodation and overnights and things like that. So it's a difficult time. I've been there, and you don't envy anybody. But Derby's such a good club that the fans are going to have to. They will. They're really loyal fans. They'll stick with them. In a football sense, Wayne can't really go wrong in that respect now, because it's been taken out of his hands. All he can do is enjoy his management experience now, and the club will come back stronger for it. So whatever will be in that respect. But the club is bigger than anybody else. I was very surprised when Boro went under, because that was mismanaged, etc. But at this level now, it's quite frightening to see clubs like Derby County and the standing that they've got punished like this. But that's what rules and regulations are for.
And just the final one from me on a completely different subject, but it's a big weekend for the golf and the boxing this weekend with Anthony Joshua fighting. Will you get to see much of either of those big events?
I hope so, yeah. I mean, the Ryder Cup, that is the best thing I've ever watched. The best thing I think it's an amazing thing. I'm not really into boxing, if I'm honest. I'm told I would like to see Anthony Joshua box the other guy. What do they call him? Tyson Fury. I'd like to see that fight, if I'm honest. I'd love to see Tyson come back from where he was. I thought would be impossible, the weight he put on and everything. You got to give somebody like that credit as a professional to dedicate himself to come back to that level after being such a big bloke. It would be a fight that I would pay to watch that fight. But other than that, the Ryder Cup, wow, it's amazing, isn't it? 1 o'clock, 1:05 today, and they've all put the big hitters up front. It's going to be a great. We'll have no support whatsoever. We'll probably have the odd shout, but Poulter and that, they'll make sure they're wound up. These guys, people say, why do the captain pick certain players? But they pick them because they know on the big days they turn up. And you're going to need these people in this particular next 3 days. But I'm really looking forward to it. I'm probably not sleep as much in the next few days, but hey ho.